Texans released their official depth chart ahead of week 1 against the Colts. It's finally here, Cody. Opening week, 9/11 is the Texans' first game. Noon kickoff at NRG. What were your biggest takeaways from this depth chart? And tell us why it's Kenyon Green not being listed as the starting left guard.
Yeah, it's definitely got to be Kenyon Green not being the starting left guard. Now, look, this is the unofficial depth chart, and Lovie Smith's going to tell you tomorrow when we talk to him in his media availability that it's the unofficial depth chart. But Kenyon Green is not the starting left guard right now on the depth chart. It's Justin McCray. And that's not going to be the case throughout the course of the season. I almost wonder if that's even going to be the case for the duration of the game against the Indianapolis Colts. I could see a situation where before the game is over, we see 59, we see Kenyon Green at left guard, and Justin McCray gets the boot. That's what I could see happening before the end of the Colts game on Sunday. I don't believe in Justin McCray. He's a very solid, very fine backup. He can play left guard and right guard. He can even snap a little bit at the center spot. But McCray, to me, should not be starting over Kenyon Green at that left guard spot. And I understand to an extent why the Texans might have made this decision. You don't want to just automatically tell guys that draft position matters a ton. Kenyon Green missed a good amount of practice with the concussion in training camp. But Kenyon Green and his few snaps against some backups did better than Justin McCray in his few snaps against some backups. And that, to me, felt like that was enough. Kenyon Green, not the left guard in the initial depth chart in the starting spot. That stinks. You spent a first-round pick on this guy. That's part of the Deshaun Watson haul. And he's not starting? Like, part of that, I'm disappointed in Kenyon Green, because he's a part of the Browns trade to not be starting. I understand it's out of his control. It's not like he played poorly. He just seems like he's behind because of the concussion thing. But, I mean, come on. That guy's got to be starting sooner rather than later.
If he's not starting by week 2, I think that's a problem. Week 1, you don't want to hand him the job because he missed a lot of time in the preseason. All right, fine. But if he's not starting by week 2, what are we doing? Because every game Kenyon Green is not starting, it's wasting valuable reps for him to be developing as this team's long-term answer at that position. And they can say whatever they want. He's their long-term answer at that position. They used the first-round pick on a quote-unquote non-premium position at guard. So this guy's got to be out there. He's got to be playing. I'll give him the first game because he missed time, and maybe they don't want to hand him the job. But from when, where we were, I guess 2 weeks ago when the last preseason game played, when he made his debut and played really well, to where we would be after this game on Sunday, it's about a month. And that should be enough time for Kenyon Green to then establish himself as this team's starting guard for the remainder of the season.
Look, it's a 17-game season. It's 18 weeks in the season, so I don't want to freak out too much on week 1 and a guy not starting because he could then start 16 straight and everything would be fine. It just feels to me like for a game that I don't want to say you have a chance to win, but you want to look good out the gate. Like there's a lot of buy-in right now for this Texans team. You go out there and you get smacked around by the Colts like you did last year in both the games when you played them last year, and some of that buy-in goes away. Same old Texans would be some of the thought process, some of the conversation around this team. Like Kenyon Green, to me, just gives you the best chance to win. That was an old Bill O'Brien thing. We're going to play the best players to give us the best chance to win. He didn't do that, which is why it always sounded so stupid coming out of his mouth. He never did that. He sat Kiki QT for like a whole year and decided to play a bunch of guys that weren't as good as QT. Like, Kenyon Green, to me, is better than Justin McCray. Look, I don't get to see every practice. The Texans do. And maybe it's just as simple as they don't want to hand it to him. They want him to feel like he had to earn it. Well, he played better in the preseason than Justin McCray did in the preseason games. Now, did he play better in training camp? No. But in the preseason games, he did.
How about a positive story from this depth chart? They're not messing around. Damian Pierce, RB1 on the chart.
There's no or, there's no and, nothing. Damian Pierce, running back 1 on the week 1 unofficial depth chart. That's fantastic. And that is really not something that I believed was possible for Damian Pierce. Even with the lack of overall talent that he was walking into in that running back room with Rex Burkhead, he beat out obviously Marlon Mack, Dare Ogunbowale, and Royce Freeman. I just didn't believe this organization, with the way they handled the rookies last year, we're going to give Damian Pierce that designation. We're going to give him that opportunity just because this is not how they did business last year. Brevin Jordan was on a milk carton for 12 weeks, and then he finally showed up and scored a touchdown. I just didn't feel like they handled the rookies in a great way last year, or a way that made the most sense last year, and I thought that would continue to be the process. But no, Damian Pierce, maybe he almost made it impossible for them to not do this. Like the way he performed, not only in training camp practices, but also in the way that he performed in the 2 preseason games that he played. It just made it nearly impossible for Damian Pierce to not be running back 1 for this team. Officially announced with the depth chart. I guess officially announced on the unofficial depth chart doesn't mean crap, but 31's taking the first carry on Sunday.
Number 2 running back is Rex Burkhead.
Hope we don't see him. Hope we see Dario Gumawale on 3rd downs, and I hope we don't see Rex Burkhead. It's a good day if you don't see Rex Burkhead on the field.
Royce Freeman is the number 4 running back.
Is Royce Freeman even going to be active for the game?
Probably not. You're not going to activate 4 running backs.
4 running backs and a fullback? Probably not.
Troy Hairston, though, listed as the fullback all by himself.
Yeah, another rookie in a starting spot there with Troy Hairston, undrafted free agent that was a defensive lineman. They turned him into a fullback, played really well. Big thing for Hairston, plays all 4 special teams versions. Punt return, punt, defense, or punt return, punt, kickoff return, and kickoff. He plays all 4 special teams versions.
Worth noting, the 2 players they acquired this past week on offense, that'd be tight end O.J. Howard. He's listed as the number 3 tight end behind Farrell Brown and Brevin Jordan. And Tyler Johnson, he's listed as, I guess this would be, the 5th wide receiver right now? You have Brandon Cooks, Nico Collins, Philip Dorsett, and Chris Moore. Tyler Johnson listed as the number 5 receiver.
Yeah, so the Texans don't list a slot cornerback, and they don't list a slot wide receiver. If they had listed a slot wide receiver, then Tyler Johnson would be in the 2nd team, so to speak. He'd be backing up whoever the other wide receiver's not backing up, and then either Dorsett or Moore would be the slot wide receiver, the first one that you have. But yeah, I mean, Johnson on the depth chart here should be active, should have an opportunity. I know he doesn't play special teams. That was the comment from Todd Bowles last week, that part of the reason he wasn't there in Tampa anymore is because he didn't play special teams. That's fine. You can have guys that don't play special teams. When you've got your fullback that can play every version of special teams, not everybody has to play special teams. Find a way to get him on the field if he showcases enough and picking up for this team over the course of the week. And O.J. Howard being 3 wouldn't read too much into it. I don't think it's out of the question that we see all 3 tight ends on the field at once at some point on Sunday.
12 personnel, 2 tight ends, 1 running back set. Could be a staple in the Pep Hamilton offense.
We might see a 13 personnel setup. All 3 tight ends. We really might.
All at the same time.
All at the same time. We really might. I don't think it's totally out of the question. Just to maximize protection or to create some mismatch opportunities there. Farrell Brown, the top tight end, that would make sense. He had a better training camp than Brevin Jordan did overall, even though he got hurt and dinged up there at the back end of it. But yeah, I think you'll see all 3 tight ends on Sunday.
Defensively, your biggest takeaway from the defensive side of the ball, it should be noted, not that this is a surprise, Derek Stingley, a starter opposite Steven Nelson at corner, and safety Jalen Petrie, also starting opposite Jonathan Owens in that secondary.
Yeah, 4 brand new starters in the secondary. Despite the fact that some guys that started last year are on this team still. Desmond King's not a starter, and Eric Murray's not a starter. And part of the reason those guys aren't starters is because Derek Stingley is and Jalen Petrie is, to go along with the free agent addition in Steven Nelson and Jonathan Owens, who hung around here with this team and played himself into this opportunity. So 4 brand new starters in the secondary, and that's one of the things that I'll be paying attention to the most, not only with a Colts team that shredded you through the air last year with Carson Wentz at quarterback. Now it's Matt Ryan. They've got a little bit more receiving talent overall on that team than they did a year ago. Michael Pittman's another year into his NFL career. Alec Pierce is going to be an interesting rookie. Paris Campbell's healthy for the Colts as well. That secondary, those 4 new starters are going to get tested early against Matt Ryan and the Colts.
5 days away?
5 days away.
That's it.
We made it. It's almost here.
You could smell that football feeling.
This little mic thing I have on doesn't smell very good, by the way.
Probably smells like spit, if I had to guess.
Yeah, it smells like my crusty, nasty breath.
I'm glad I can sit really far away from you at this desk.
Me too.
A huge thank you to you for watching my video. This is Jake Asman here. If you're a Houston sports fan, subscribe to my channel and then listen to our radio show, The Wheelhouse, every single weekday on ESPN Houston from 3 to 7 p.m. It's on ESPN 97.5 FM and 92.5 FM. Thanks for being a listener.